So I think the number one thing is never make assumptions. It's a somewhat hard line to walk between giving students enough options that they can find something that works for them and giving students too many options such that they're overwhelmed with choice. I tend to lean closer to the overwhelmed with choice because I feel like as a teacher, you can know your students well enough to narrow that for me, whereas I'm usually writing for who knows who. But yeah, making a curricula that has lots of different entry points gives as many different ways to show your knowledge as possible and to obtain the knowledge as possible.
Yep.
Lots of UDL, Universal Design for Learning. Yeah, because I don't actually know what is engaging for you. For some students, it will definitely be building projects. And for some students, it actually won't. Giving students room for whatever that is. One of my favorite stories from last year follows along this line. I had a student who I'd first just let them create a Scratch project about anything just to see what they'd come up with. This kid had been very engaged and built the whole thing about cars. And then the next thing was I'd taught them some more storytelling elements and things that you could do in Scratch for storytelling in the intervening time each day while they were working on this project. And so I had them make another story. And since in fourth grade they learned about the Greek myths, I had them make a Greek myth story on Scratch. And this kid said, "Oh, I wanted to do things about cars." And I said, "Well, that's fine. The Greek gods can ride cars." And the kid goes, "Oh, Zeus would ride a Koenigsegg because he's the king of the gods." And I said, "Oh, yes, that is the kind of car that I would imagine Zeus would drive." And so then he got super into this project on writing a Greek myth because the gods could ride cars. So I think finding what's important in this and how can I make it something that a kid will be excited about. It certainly wasn't important that the Greek gods not ride cars. You can totally tell a full Greek myth while the gods are riding cars.
Yeah, I really loved the point about what's important in this. Far too often when I look at a rubric, if you were to just, from an objective standpoint, kind of see, well, what is being assessed here? It's usually what the theme is and counting the number of things inside of a project rather than focusing in on the concept or practice itself that's important that can be applied to a billion different types of projects.
Yep. Yeah. What is it you actually wanted your students to get out of doing this project? Make sure it has that thing and don't bog them down in everything else.
Right. Yeah. Although some administrators, they want to see everybody learning the same things. And yeah, so that can lead into some interesting discussions.
This excerpt was from episode 13 of the CSK8 podcast titled AI for All, Curriculum Development and Gender Discourse with Sarah Judd, which you can find on any podcast platform just by searching for CSK8 podcast or by simply going to jaredoleary.com, where you'll find hundreds more podcast episodes on computer science education.